in order to make you look bad, and then record you from that camera on the front of your phone.
Right.
My neighbors would tap on the walls at very specific times just to kind of annoy me, just kind of harassment.
Right.
And then it was basically months and months of conditioning.
So this isn't really like a person hiding behind a bush spying on you. This is covert, but also very out in the open. It's meant for you to know they're stalking you, but for no one else around you to know, right?
Exactly.
So can you expand on that?
Yes, so basically what they do is they use a formula called NLP.
I've never had anyone just say exactly what I wanted them to expand. That's funny. Go ahead.
So basically they use something called NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. So for instance, say you walk outside, right, and you go into your car and somebody walks by and they're clicking a pin and they're looking at you kind of weird. You're like, okay. You shrug it off. You go to the store, grocery store. You're buying groceries. You come out to your car, and you got a lady pushing a cart, and she's looking at, almost runs into you, and she's clicking a pin. You're like, wow, that had to have been a coincidence.
Right. It's almost like Pavlov's dogs, like you're conditioned.
Yeah. So now you're on your way home, right? You're stopped at a stoplight, and you got a guy holding his arm out of the car, clicking a pin. Now you've just been sensitized to that
Right.
pen.
So to the average person, they're not going to really think when they see one person clicking a pen, that means anything. It'll make you look crazy. You'll say to your mother, hey, that guy's clicking a pen, but you're the only person that knows. You saw two other people that day clicking a pen at you, right?
Exactly. So basically it's an everyday stimuli that they use on you. It could be anywhere from, in the very beginning, they condition you to a protocol. They try to say you're guilty of something.
Now, a lot of people are going to, I hate to interrupt you, but I know we have a limited amount of time, and I want to make sure you get everything out you want to say.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to say why, and a lot of people are going to say who. Those are really difficult questions, right?
Yeah, those are very difficult questions.
Because the different...
There's different organizations that are a part of it. So it's kind of, and since it is a covert operation, it's hard to pinpoint who's actually doing the targeting.
It's kind of like a vicious circle because you don't know what the end game is. It's difficult to prove or pinpoint, so therefore people say it's not happening, but it is.
Exactly. The perpetrators know that it's happening, and so that's why I took up activism, because if I can inform my perpetrators, they know what's going on, but they're told lies and disinformation, and whenever you present them with the correct information, they realize what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
It's a smear campaign. They tell lies on you, and they pay people money for their services.
For an example of creating a smear campaign. Like for me personally, everyone in West Hollywood and Los Angeles that have known me for 20 years, I have thousands of friends. Okay, everybody likes me.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't have one single friend in my apartment building for the last 3 years. No one will talk to me. Nor have I had one single friend living in my house in Florida for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So everyone in the world is my friend. Everyone likes me. But yet no one on my street likes me or will talk to me. And explain to them why that might be. What do they do to my neighbors to make them think this?
Well, what they do is in the beginning, they start with the bugging of the target's home. So basically they want to profile the target. So they set up audio video surveillance in your home. They get somebody to conspire against you. And then they build a protocol on you. The protocol is what's going to be used to harass you. They also sensitize you to the protocol that they create for you. So it's not just like you're being followed and stalked. You got people setting you up and trapping you, coercing you, manufacturing false evidence, and then sensitizing you to the false evidence that they manufactured, and then you get harassed about it.
Right. Now, like another example of possible, sometimes they can effectively stalk you by just claiming you're stalked. For instance, you'll have a friend come over to your house and say, hey, I was just followed there. So they're getting double mileage out of that because
because this will let you know that you're being followed.
So they're getting a lot for their dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
So and they'll do harassment skits. It's called directed conversation. They'll random strangers out in public. They'll walk by you or kind of linger around you, and they'll act like they're talking on their cell phones, and they'll mention stuff that only pertains to your situation.
Right.
And it happens on a day-to-day basis. I mean, not just once or twice a day, but 15, 20 times a day.
Right.
And I mean, it's nerve-wracking not being able to just walk down the street, or just to be able to carry on with your life. You know, if you get a job, they recruit people into the workplace. They try to, you know, mob you out of the workplace, and it's all based off of lies and deception. I got something I want to read.
Okay, please.
On your cell phone. They can explain it a little bit more, and then I can also give some references to the viewers that they may be able to look up and find more information.
Yeah, one of the most important objectives we have here today is to inform people, number one, that don't know they're being gang stalked. They just feel like something weird's going on.
Yeah.
Let them know that there's a lot of support groups. They can go on Facebook. Just look up gang stalking. There's thousands of organizations. Freedom Covert Harassment
Freedom
right
from
now.
Covert Harassment and Surveillance. That's
and
one.
It's important for people to have information. The other, I think one of the other objectives you have for being here today is the people that are actually being retained by the stalkers to assist in the covert operations should know the kind of what they're really doing. A lot of people don't even know they're part of it, do they?
Well, they're told lies and disinformation about the target. They use humiliating, degrading themes to make the stalkers actually believe what they're doing is beneficial to society.
For instance, an example of this would be...
But since everything's compartmentalized, they don't know what happened in order for them to basically set you up.
Right. For an example, it could be like my neighbors being told by a police officer, which is exactly what happened, that I'm under surveillance because I'm a drug dealer, which I'm not. And then now my neighbors are watching me, thinking I'm a drug dealer, forming, you know, very disfavorable opinions of me.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I know this firsthand is because when I was under surveillance in Florida, the police officer named Gonzo, I saw him on my street all the time with surveillance cars, and I said to him, "Why are you on my street? Why am I under surveillance?" He goes, "You're not. Your neighbor is." But that was really covert because they were able to actually be
to make you believe that it was the neighbor
while they could still survey me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to read this off of this website. It's organized stalking is a form of terrorism used against an individual in a miraculous attempt to reduce the quality of a person's life so they will have a nervous breakdown, become incarcerated, institutionalized, experience constant mental, emotional, or physical pain, become homeless, and or commit suicide. This is done using well-orchestrated accusations, lies, rumors, bogus investigations, setups, framings, intimidation, overt or covert threats, vandalism, theft, sabotage, torture, humiliation, emotional terror, and general harassment. It is a ganging up by members of the community who follow an organizer and participate in a systematic terrorizing of an individual.
Very interesting. Now, if people want to get help, like, is there a way to contact you in any way whatsoever? What would you like them to know?
Yeah, you can actually contact me at josh.a.brown90@gmail.com, and that is josh.a.brown90@gmail.com.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about your family. Like, how does your parents or your mother feel about, like, what has happened to you? What's been the metamorphosis and the whole? How has that happened? Like,
well, basically, I was stalked for a year before finding out that there was an actual term for it. I thought I was all alone, and I came across a year later that it was called organized stalking. You can actually Google organized stalking as well. And
I just want to say, there's 5 million, if you Google organized stalking or gang stalking, 5 million different websites will pop up.
Yeah,
5 million.
Yeah, this is happening on a large scale. And it's not just America, it's basically all NATO countries. So in the very beginning, I was, I informed my family about all the tactics that were used against me. And then a year later, I find out that it's called organized stalking, and every single tactic on the websites, of organized stalking is what I was experiencing.
Right.
And then I find out that I'm not alone, and that there's hundreds of thousands of other people experiencing the same thing.
Now, me personally, again, this show wasn't supposed to be about me, but I feel like I need to interject. I've had some very dangerous cases in my life. I've had a case with the mafia. I've had a case with, I'm not going to say all the different names, some very dangerous organizations where I've been threatened. I went on Dr. Phil for answers. I believe that I was one person in this entire country that was being individually stalked by one of the people that I have had some very serious cases about. Mm-hmm. Not until the show aired did I get, that's how we met, and every single day I get 5 to 10 phone calls from people all around the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, recently I've introduced you to someone from Morocco, who are here in LA, and just friends of mine who didn't realize they were going through the exact same thing. So it's a very serious subject. Now, there's very little time left. I do want to get out a couple things I think you want to talk about. What's the connection between the NSA and Snowden?
Well, basically, Snowden leaked information about the NSA monitoring all internet data, phone calls, text messages, basically mass surveillance of all civilians. So that kind of, gives us credibility, with the mass surveillance that's going on. There's also Infogard and fusion centers, which are civilian spy networks, which correspond with the FBI to gain intelligence for counterterrorism. And so these are also facilities that could be used as vehicles in the stalking.
So local police, etc., through watch groups, etc., and people are trained
neighborhood
in
watch
fusions.
groups, Infogard, Fusion, even Department of Defense contractors. And I do want to say the person who set me up, her name is Samantha K. Ree Willis, and I will expose you.
Very interesting. That's how serious this is. That it makes us not even care about these people who have caused such great danger in your life and hell, right?
And her grandfather retired from Lockheed Martin. I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
And because that's where she was protected by these people, and she was the one who basically set me up. And
Right.
her grandfather retired from Lockheed Martin.
Right. Now, a lot of the setups, a lot of people don't realize how the lengths they will go. A lot of this happened during sexual play, correct? Like in role play to you?
Yeah, she would basically coerce me into role playing and then record me on the phone, and then they use that against me to harass me.
And that's exactly what happened to me as well. It's really hard to enjoy yourself when you're being, I've been shot up into the internet and against my will, against my knowledge. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
It's all entrapment.
Right. So talk a little bit more about the NSA. You were telling me earlier about the FBI. What is the group that happened in the 60s? Can you explain about that?
Yeah, there was actually a program that is identical to organized stalking. It's called COINTELPRO, declassified government documents. You can go to Google, type in COINTELPRO, and it'll pull up all the information. And you can also go to Google and you can type in organized stalking, or you can go to YouTube and type in organized stalking as well.
And tell us more what COINTELPRO is. I mean, you haven't told me what it is.
COINTELPRO is an acronym for the counterintelligence program conducted by the FBI, and basically they employed the same exact tactics that organized stalking employ.
Talk more about, elaborate a little bit more, because
Well,
I know that you don't shut
well,
up about this normally. So
well, back in the '60s, they would target mainly people in the Black Panther Party, revolutionists, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, political dissidents, whistleblowers, activists, different things like that. But now we're on a larger scale of what they're doing. It's much more than just political or activism. They're doing this to whistleblowers. We're blowing the whistle on corporate, government corruption.
Okay, so let me ask you this. We have 1 minute left.
Yes.
Why you?
Why me?
And I know that's the most difficult question. The reason I'm putting you on the spot with that is because it's obvious we don't know why, but I'm going to ask you, what is your opinion? What did you do that's causing the government or whoever it is to do this to you?
My ex-girlfriend's grandfather retired from Lockheed Martin. I believe that she's trying to use me as a scapegoat, basically to ensure if she did something wrong, then it would come back on me.
I want to just cut in right there and let you know that a lot of, even to me, and I'm saying this right out there, even to me, that sounds ridiculous. And it's the fact that this sounds ridiculous is how they're able to get other people not to believe that this is really taking place. So I want to thank you for being here as my guest today, man. You're amazing.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm really glad you're in LA with me right now, and we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Of course.
Okay? Of course. Okay. So, anyway, it's a pleasure having you here, brother.
You too.
We just have to pretend we're talking right now. Well, maybe they're hearing that right now, but this is show business, right?
Yep.
So,
We're out.
cool.
Awesome.
That was a pretty good show.
How'd we do?
You shut up a few times when you actually got the stage right there.